Hi everyone, today I'm here to tell you about the 5 most memorable live events in my life, and I'm going to talk to you not about the usual review or the nth interview, but I want to share some of the most memorable moments in my life for one reason or another. The first, chronologically speaking, was the Italian edition of the Monsters of Rock in Reggio Emilia. It was 1992, and it was a festival with an incredible lineup. I went there for Pantera, Iron Maiden, Testament, and Black Sabbath, but the lineup also included Pino Scotto, Warrant. First of all, I remember that Pantera used to deliver one of their best live performances. Even if Dimebag's amplification didn't sound so good. At that time, sound technicians weren't too professional over here. But anyway, they tried all the best to spur the audience, which was sometimes a bit unresponsive, maybe because most Italians don't speak English or they don't speak it very well. So Phil Anselmo did his best. I remember that he was using his voice, his gestures as much as he could, and he also delighted us with some gross exhibitions, like one in front of a camera where he threw a snot rocket just a few minutes before the end of Pantera's exhibition. Anyway, they were really in a good shape, and during the middle of the set we could also see Chuck Billy appear on the background of the stage for a few seconds. I also want to remember Black Sabbath's exhibition because their performance was great. I remember that they were promoting the Humanizer. Here, only professional singers can understand what I'm talking about. Ronnie James Dio was such a professional guy that he could deliver great vocal performances even without mixing. On this occasion, he sounded good on a clear, straight soundboard, and that's not so easy as it seems. Well, anyway, this was in 1992. It was the Italian edition of Monsters of Rock. And I remember I was there with some friends. We didn't go to the fence. We didn't go too close to the stage. First, because we didn't want to be crushed and keep that place, that precious place, for so many hours. But in the end, we were able to get close enough at the center of the arena to have a good visual and to hear everything in the middle. Anyway, the other thing I remember that I want to remind you was that Iron Maiden recorded Heaven Can Wait for in a real live one just on that occasion. And yes, it wasn't my first concert. It was one of the first ones. It was certainly the first major league concert there were really many people, and they were all there for 5 bands mostly, and they were really very interested, and we didn't have phones back then, so everybody was very concentrated, but unfortunately they couldn't react too well to the artists because there isn't much interaction when the English knowledge isn't too good. Anyway, it was a very good experience that I will never forget. The second I want to talk to you about was the Monsters of Rock in Donington, 95 edition. The lineup was starting from the first performances till the night, White Zombie, Warrior Soul, Therapy, Slayer, yes, Mid Position, Slash the Snake Pit, Skid Row, Metallica, Machine Head, Corrosion of Conformity. So it was a great lineup, and I think I could never have seen all these interesting bands separately. So it was a good occasion. 95 was one of the most important years in my life, because I went to England to attend an English course, and I was able to buy a ticket to Donington and a bus ticket, so I went there, and it was a fantastic experience. But there was also a downside. When I had to come back, I remember that I was on a hill. It was dark and it was packed with buses, but I couldn't find the one that brought me there, even if I had been careful trying to remember it before leaving it at the entrance. So I saw that a lot of buses were going away, and my anguish became fear when very few were left. But in the end, I don't know, maybe someone loves me from above. I was able to find mine. The driver wasn't waiting for me. I think I was just in time, so I was able to get back to my London apartment I was renting back then. Anyway, all the effort was worth, and I'll never forget this experience. I attended other concerts abroad, but nothing so big, so memorable, and I'm happy I belong to that generation, and I'm happy I was there. The third I want to talk to you about is the Napalm Death concert during the 96 European tour. It was played in Reggio Emilia, not in Bologna, and I remember the concert was great. I remember we were there long before the show started. We even saw Napalm Death and other bands at the restaurant when we before entering the final gate. And it wasn't a big club, it wasn't small, just a mid one. Anyway, they played some songs that they didn't usually play those years. And the top of the moment, the top of the event, the highlight was when Shane Emery, the bass player, wanted to give his t-shirt away, like guitar players giving their plectra at the end of the concert, or drummers their sticks. I don't know why, there were a lot of people, but not many were going to him to shake his hand and to congratulate him before he would go backstage. Anyway, I was the fastest, I don't know, and I was the one who grabbed his t-shirt, and still a good memory, because I remember that many people were afraid of Shane, who He's such a friendly person. I don't know why they are intimidated by him, and that's a good memory. And you know what? This is the T-shirt I'm talking about. This is what Shane Embury gave me. Now you can see the whole front part of the T-shirt, and the back side shows the dates of the 96 Euro Tour. You can see on the back that the name of the city reported is Bologna. By the way, it's also spelled very wrongly. Anyway, the show was in Reggio Emilia, and that's because the venue was changed too late to correct it on the tee and long sleeve shirt prints. So this is another interesting anecdote I wanted to share with you. The fourth event is not a concert, it was a tattoo metal convention, and it was taken in the province of Bologna. I was chosen because I was collaborating for a metal magazine which doesn't exist anymore, and they sent me because I was one of the contributors that lived the closest, and I was there with a stand, and I was able to meet several interesting people. And I remember I greeted, talked and shook hands with Steve Sylvester from Death SS, and I remember I worked with Max Marzocca, who was in the stand with me. He came from Rome. Max is and has been in a great number of bands in death metal, black metal, and industrial, Funeration, Abrim, and several others. So it was another interesting experience because I was able to leave it backstage. I haven't been backstage many times. Sometimes I interviewed some bands later. But that was an interesting experience at the end of the 90s. And the last one I want to talk to you about is a live show which was performed at the Alpheus Club in Rome in April 2003. Ex Mortem opened for Necrophagia. And besides the live show, I have decided to pick up this event because Frank Pucci Killjoy was together with his wife at the stand before and after the show, and he's always been ready and available to talk to fans about music and horror movies, and I want to remember Frank because he has given so much to the scene, and he hasn't received all that he deserved. Anyway, Necrophagia weren't a band that played a tight number of dates during the year. I think that even in the US, Canada, UK and Germany, which are the four most important places where they played the most often, I think they don't have big numbers of dates. Maybe it's because Necrophagia had a lot of hiatuses, so that's why it was important to catch the opportunity of being present at one of their shows. And they indeed played only 3 times in Italy, so I'm happy I was there. I know that we won't be able to see Necrophagia anymore because everybody knows Frank Pucci left us in 2018. First of all, A greeting to you wherever you are, Frank, and thanks for your contribution. That's something that will always be here, and not only here. I've been to a lot of concerts, but not all concerts, festivals or events leave the same mark in a person. So I'm quite satisfied of this choice. That's all. If you want to subscribe to this channel, you can find all the links below. So till the next, I've decided to make this because I know that not everybody wants to listen to reviews and interviews and news all the time. So this is something personal, and I think that it will be interesting, and I want to listen to your constructive comments, and please also drop a line about your most important live experiences, and tell us why they were so important in your life and on your personality. Thanks for all. Bye. To the next.